Hello, my friends. I'm Dr. Rodrigo Rodriguez, Medical Director of BioCare Hospital. And I want to thank you for the privilege of listening to these podcasts because I do them from the bottom of my heart to try to give you information that I hope you find very valuable. Thanks to the generosity of Truth Be Told Radio Network, we are able to come to you every week, every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we repeat the program every Saturday at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. But I want to tell you something that is even more important. You can go to Spotify and search Truth Be Told Radio Network, and you're going to be able to find a lot of podcasts like this that I hope you can enjoy, you can learn something from them, and the best to me would be if you follow me, if you share them, because I think it's important information that you can share to everybody that you love. And now that we're beginning a new year, now that we're beginning a new part of our lives, I think that it's time to think what we want to do in the future. And I want to remind you that disease does not occur overnight, particularly chronic degenerative disease, which is what's killing us. Cancer, heart disease, diabetes, etc. We have years to change the path. We have many years to prevent. We have many years to avoid it. Don't wait till the doctor tells you you have a deadly diagnosis. Make the change today. Start this time. This time of New Year's resolution would be the perfect time to shift the road to health and wellness. You have a friend, Dr. Rodrigo Rodriguez. I'm available if you give me a call, if you click on the social media of your choice, Facebook, Twitter, etc., or if you go to our website. Ask any question, get information, educate yourself, and make sure that you and your family will have what I wish you most, a very healthy long life. My friends, this is Dr. Rodrigo Rodriguez, Medical Director of BioCare Hospital. And once more, I hope you're listening to me. I hope I have the privilege to reach and to be able to have a conversation with you and tell you little things about important issues that we can help to correct. I'm talking about health maintenance. I'm talking about for a constant care of our body, a constant biocare, because it is a wonderful machine we were given. Our bodies were actually made in perfection, but it needs care, like anything else, like any living organism, just as your houseplants, just as your pets, just as everything in nature, our bodies need care. And in the modern world where we live, we have come to believe that, yes, we can control everything. We can control nature. We have tamed rivers and storms and energy, and we are now creating solar energy on Earth and so forth. So yes, we have so much knowledge. We're so good as scientists. We send rockets to Mars. Forget about the moon. That's not important anymore. So we think that, yes, we have the key to every single function of this world, except us, except ourselves. But nevertheless, many people think that we, the doctors, have the total knowledge, that we, the doctors, know how to deal with anything. And every time I read a magazine, every time I read literature, every time I look at some news, there's a lot of dismay, because every time I see something that's revolutionary about breast cancer, revolutionary about diabetes. Every time they talk about something like that, they're going to talk about how to deal with the problem. They're going to talk about a new medication. They're going to talk about a new shot, a new pill, etc. We never say, come on, I don't have to get it. I don't have to be diabetic. I don't have to have a cancer. I don't have to have Alzheimer's. So why don't we talk about which route, which path will take me there? So I'm inviting you today to make this shift, to learn that there are better ways, better roads to go through, and that you can go in that direction. Now, there's not one single organ in our whole body that we don't have to face, literally, face to face every single day of our life. We don't have to be a doctor, we don't need a scan, we don't need x-rays, we don't need an MRI. No, we are right in front of it every single day of our lives. And that's one of our largest organs. And a very complicated, a very complex one. And that's skin, the human skin. But we underestimate it. We take it for granted. After all, ever since we were born, we had this fantastic coating, this fantastic barrier between our bodies and the external world. So we take it for granted, and for the same reason we underestimate it. But as time goes by, we learn that no, that beautiful skin, that beautiful complexion we used to have, it's becoming saggy, wrinkled, age spots, brown spots, etc., you name it. And then we start, what else? Looking old, which means everything that's happening within our body is going to reflect in our complexion and appearance. And then what we do? We do cosmetic surgery, we do this, we do the other, because in our quest for looking beautiful and young for the rest of the times, we do things just to look better, but we're not going to be better. The skin is a very complex organ that in general terms, I have to tell you, it has layer over layer over layer of different cells and tissues. The two most important, the most two obvious are the dermis and the epidermis. The dermis is actually the living skin. It's actually the skin that's gone right under what we can touch. It's where all the blood vessels flow, where all the nerves go, where all the endings for neuronal sensation pick up all the signals from the external world. That is the dermis. It has a very, very sophisticated protein structure. You know, there are more than 10,000 different proteins that have been cataloged and discovered in the dermal layer. That's how complex it is. But when you think of it, you say, yeah, it has a lot of blood. Because if I touch it, it feels warm. And sometimes it feels very cold. And it doesn't have to be cold to have cold skin. It's something that terrifies us, something that gives a big problem, can do that. Because our mood, our mental condition is going to be reflected there, because the adrenaline, for example, is going to close up blood vessels, and then our skin is going to be cold, and it's not going to function well. So think of it. Think of it next time you're in a rage, that you're in bad mood, that you're under a lot of stress. All those things reflect on the blood flow of the skin. Think of something very important, for example. To some people, particularly those of lighter complexion, if they think of something or if something happens, they can blush. And what is it if not blood? Blood that rushes under the skin, which means that emotion, that thing you heard, that thing you saw, that thing that happened around you, that doesn't have any direct influence on the skin, is going to reflect by blushing, by increasing the blood flow, which means what? It means that our brains are connected to our skin. Do you begin to see how important all this is? And then that layer, which is the dermis, is going to be protected by the epidermis. Epi in Greek means above. So it goes right above the dermal layer. We have the epidermal layer. That's the one we touch. That's the one we feel. That doesn't have blood vessels anymore. That's fed through whatever the dermis is going to give it. The dermis is going to take care of it. The dermis is going to make sure that everything is all right. But the epidermis is just going there to cover, to protect us from losing humidity, from using fats, from using a lot of things. And then we have another very powerful tool. We have a lot of glands, thousands of glands throughout the skin, hair follicles, and all those secrete fats. And those fats lubricate, are the natural lubricant of the skin. I'm going to call your attention on something that you probably have heard a lot, or you rather said you have seen a lot. Those of you that have a bird's bath at home, those of you that have been doves taking a bath in a fountain, have seen that once the birds wash themselves, there is a coat of fat above the water. You know what that is? That is the fat that's coming from all the sebaceous glands, from all the hair follicles. In the case of birds, the follicles that give growth to the feathers, and that are naturally produced to coat the epidermis, to keep it pliable, to keep it healthy, to keep it humid, to keep it functional. And that fat is water soluble. Keep this because it's a very important thing you have to keep in your mind. The fat from the skin and the fat from the hair is water soluble. You don't need complex formulations to get rid of it. More important, the big question is, should you get rid of it? And we have to talk about that when we talk about how we have to take care of our health. Because these fats are very protective. Not only that, not only protective to the quality of the skin, but they're loaded with immunological activity. I mean, you cannot just come in there and create a colony of something on your skin. No way. We have a very active immune system acting upon the skin to make sure that nothing comes in here. Furthermore, we have talked many times about the intestinal flora, about the gut flora, the bacteria that live in our gut and how helpful they are. Well, the skin is also very populated with those things. Those microbes live upon us ever since. And they live in the glands because there's where it's warm, where there's good blood supply, where there's all these fats that are very nutritious. So a lot of bacteria live in our glands, in our hair follicles, in the follicles of our eyelashes, of the follicles of our eyebrows, and all of those things. And they live there for a reason. They live there because they help to protect us. we have friendly flora, call it that way, to avoid unfriendly flora that you see, for example, when you have pimples and infections on the skin. That is something you don't want on your skin. And one way to protect it is by having a very active immune system on the skin and on all the glands, with the help of a very powerful, very rich, very diverse skin flora that we have to protect. We should not attack it. And we're going to talk about how many people are going against it and how dreadful consequences it can have. And you know that when you don't have good lubrication, the skin is not going to do its job and it's not going to look as good. And you want to know about that too. So stay with me. We're coming right back. I'm Dr. Rodrigo Rodriguez, Medical Director of BioCare Hospital. And today we're talking about the human skin. How to take care of your human skin, very important, and how to help it to be always healthy. And what to do if we happen to have a problem. Well, we have already mentioned that the skin is one of the largest organs of the body. One for which we do not need anything to watch. You don't need an X-ray, you don't need a MRI, you don't need anything, because you are face to face to your skin every single day. You rub your hands, you look at your arms, you see your legs, you see your skin. You wash it every day when you're in the shower. And you can say, oh, what is this and what is that? In other words, you are very familiar with all your skin. And it's huge. It literally goes from top to bottom. There's not one place in your body that's not really covered by skin. And that skin is a multiple layer protection, insulation surface that's going to keep the outside world out and our internal milieu in. And it works because we have said, because it has all these layers with different functions. Some of them are just protective, some of them produce fats, some of them will have friendly flora, some of them will have blood flow and give a nest to nerve endings so we can feel if it's cold, warm, if we burn it, if we burn our hands, if we, you name it, you know what I'm talking about. If it's soft, if it's pliable, if it's hard, if it's rough, if it hurts. And all that is because this is a very complex organ with a lot of neurological activity. And we were talking also that there is a very intense brain-skin connection that we can prove every time we blush. See, something that we see, something that we hear that can make us blush, that is brain-skin connection. And we have also talked about how we can make our life suffer when we are in bad mood or stress because adrenaline closes the blood supply to the skin. And remember, life is in the blood. Anything that shuts down the blood supply is going to be bad for your skin. But before we get to that point, I have to tell you that the skin, and once again, what I want to do is I want you to reflect on things that we do not see, on things we don't think of. But when I mention them, you say, oh yeah, this is right. So I don't have to tell you that the skin is subject to a lot of insults, a lot of threats. We have a lot of things coming our way, things that can hurt our skin. And they don't even have to touch it, like extreme heat, extreme cold, caustic substances, and even things we don't see, like pollutants. atmospheric pollutants that everyone that lives in a big city or near to a factory and so forth know what I'm talking about, those attack the skin and they can produce important consequences. Sometimes the pollutant comes from the inside when we choose to smoke. I ask you to do this little test. Look at your friends that smoke. Look at your friends that do not smoke. I'm not going to tell you anything, but take a good look at their complexion. And you know that skin is suffering because cigarette smoking closes blood supply to the skin. So you're going to have a skin with health problems. Same happens when you have a disease that blocks good circulation, like high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease. All those diseases will affect the skin. And we know it because how many times have you met someone you haven't seen for a long time, and then you say, "Oh, how are you?" And then you make the comment, or you think to yourself, "He doesn't look good." What are you talking about? You're talking about that person's skin complexion. It's not together, it's not healthy. Something is happening within that body. And that could be anything that I'm telling you. There are a lot of oxidative damage opportunities for the skin because there are a lot of chemicals and things that come to our body. Dust, which is not necessarily dust. I wish it were just dust as it used to be. That is just soil floating in the air. No, you have a lot of chemical things and plastics and all these things that rub on the skin and create a problem. They can attack the normal skin flora, and that is going to make your skin dry and non-functional. If the skin blood supply is not right there where it should be, you're going to see the same thing. Our glands are not going to work as well because they need a lot of blood flow. So if for any reason you don't have the blood flow you need, well, then that is going to make your skin suffer. And sometimes, the pollutants can come from our shower. How many of you use very hot showers? How many use rub and clean the skin and push everything out? We make our skins very dry, and we don't have to. Why? Because just as the birds, just as the doves that we were talking about, if you take a good shower and just rub with your hands, you're going to see that most of everything is going to come off. Because that fat in your hair, in your body, is soluble. So you might take a little thing of something just to break up some of the fat, the unwanted fat that comes from any cosmetic you're using, from your makeup, from, the environment. Many times we are in places that the pollution is fat. If you live near to a cooking place, or those smokes are pollutant and they create fat. Yeah, you can use some of that and just wash it, but you don't have to scrub it. You don't have to do anything because we don't do what we used to do. How many of you get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and go to cultivate the land? And even those that do it today have a problem. Or not a problem, they get on a machine that's air conditioned and enclosed. So we have to make sure that we take care of our skin, that we take a gentle shower, we let everything go off and take care of it. And of course, we have to make sure that in the place where we work, in the place that we go, chemical and atmospheric pollution is down to a minimum. Ideally, you have to work in a place where nobody smokes. That's very important Because remember that secondhand smoke is going to be also dreadful. It's going to be a big threat. So don't let anybody smoke close to you. At the hospital, I don't even let people smoke at the sidewalk. I send them far off. You want to smoke? Okay, there's a park in the corner. Go that way. Not even at the sidewalk. Because I know it can hurt you. So by taking care of yourself, then we're going to be in a much better condition. With all the threats that I'm talking about, it's not surprising that our skin can suffer and that we have to start thinking of antioxidants, good nutrition, good sleep is very important. Remember our brain-skin connection, and physical activity. Physical activity in itself can change a lot of things for your skin. Why? Because it increases blood flow. So no matter how old you are, there's always some room for some physical activity. Many times I tell people, don't do anything extra. Just do what you do in your normal day, but do it faster. If you're going to walk to the kitchen to bring something, go faster. Try to go a little bit faster. And as you go faster, you increase your blood flow. And that is going to give you the opportunity to create a healthier skin. But there's so many more things that you can do. But remember something. Every step you take in the right direction for health, for well-being, for good circulation, for good metabolic condition, for weight maintenance, for all of these things is going to reflect on your skin. And that's what you have to keep in mind. That every step of the way, whatever we do in our lifestyles is going to impact the way we look. And we know by experience, we all know by experience that some people that look bad, when we know their lifestyles, we say, I think I know what it is. But on the other hand, people that are fit and thin and exercise and work a lot at home and that they're always happy are going to look a lot better. So we have to say, what can I do for my body? What can I do for my skin? Because I want to keep on looking well and beautiful. Stay with me. We have a lot more to talk about. My friends, I'm Dr. Rodrigo Rodriguez, Medical Director of BioCare Hospital. And we're talking about the human skin and how it works and how it on one hand gets a lot of threats, but on the other hand, how we can keep it in good shape. We have seen how related it is to every part of our body, to our brain, to microbial life on top of the skin, to a lot of mechanisms that make it look good or bad, a lot of things that can threaten its looks or function. And with all that together, I want to get to the point that I wanted to get in the first place. Because let's face it, when you're 20, do you ever think of how good your complexion is or your skin is when you're 25, 30 years old? You don't. You don't, because you take your skin for granted, your beauty for granted. So it is when we get to a certain age when we begin to worry. We don't worry before that. We know we're going to have through some infectious problems, particularly men, because of the action of testosterone that will thicken the skin very rapidly. And that thickening of the skin blocks and obliterates the normal function of the sebaceous glands. And those glands grow. And there's a lot of testosterone activity on the hair follicles. And then men become hairy and they produce a thicker skin and they produce a lot of fat that in many cases will result in infectious problems of adolescence. But you know that's going to be transient. I mean, you know that it's going to go away. By the way, let me make a small part here. You do not necessarily have to live with it. The less fat, the less calories, the less sugar you eat, the less problems you're going to have. I see many young people that do a lot of things to help themselves. And all it takes is a healthier lifestyle. I take some interns at the hospital, young people that are going through school, that in the summer months they come to the hospital to help, that you need some extra money, and I'm very happy to do that because I like to help people that are in school. And of course I ask them for grades, I ask them for results, because yeah, I'm going to help you, but you have to help yourself, and I'm going to give you a job. And I remember one case very distinctly of a 18-year-old boy that just couldn't live with all the complications he had on skin. He had seen all dermatologists, he had taken every single cream, he had done everything, etc. So he started working at the hospital as a dishwasher. I put him to do the dishes and so forth. So he was at the kitchen. The staff at the kitchen, I don't let them go out to have lunch and eat. And I don't let them to bring food to my kitchen. My kitchen is sacred. So when you work at the kitchen at the hospital, you have to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Whatever it happens to be your turn, you have to eat at the hospital. Well, this boy had breakfast, lunch, and dinner because he wanted to work like 12 hours a day, because he only had 4 weeks and he wanted to have a little bit more money. Well, at the end he was very happy because he got the money he wanted, he did the job he wanted, he was very happy because, of course, that helps you. This guy, by the way, now is a doctor, he's a physician, he's a radiologist. But the important thing that I'm going to mention is that at the end of those 4 weeks, he didn't have any pimples. He didn't have any skin problems. Why? Because he ate at the hospital 3 meals a day. So everything was gone. You follow me? Every single thing you put in your mouth can have an important impact on your skin health. Now, I was saying that as we grow older, we start to worry about our skin, because then is when we start seeing problems. What are the problems? I'm going to mention 2 of the most obvious, so you understand them. I was telling you that the skin is mainly made up with 2 layers of important things. One is the dermis, the other one is the epidermis. This is the actual living part, and this is not really living, it's just cells that are on the way to be discarded. But nevertheless, they cover for humidity, for hydration, for protection, they have an immunological activity, etc., etc. But they are just growing and growing and growing until they are they fall off. And then you create a new layer of cells that is going to continuously grow. The 2 layers are connected through fibers, through special cells called fibroblasts. You can think of threads that go from one layer to the other, so they don't slide one on top of the other. They are like together. They are very much together. They're just like a single thing. But as we grow older, one of the things that happens is that those fibroblasts are less and less and less. But they will disappear faster if the blood flow is low. And once again, what can you do to keep that blood flow well? Eat well, sleep well, exercise, do everything you have to do to be healthy, because this is a living organism. Your dermis is a living part of your body, and needs blood, needs oxygen, needs detoxification, needs important supplies. Now, these fibroblasts use a lot of vitamin C and flavonoids. So what if your diet is insufficient in those things? So there's no question. The more care you take to your well-being and to your food supply and to your supplements and vitamins and minerals, and make sure you exercise, make sure you move yourself, make sure you do what you have to do, make sure that you sleep, etc., the better off you're going to be. So you're going to look younger, in one word. Every time you get in a rage, every time you are in bad mood, every time you are fighting or under a lot of stress, that adrenaline is going to cut off part of the blood supply. So your skin will get older faster, because that breaking of those fibers is going to make that one slides on the other, and then what used to be a very beautiful surface starts to wrinkle. And then you look at yourself on the mirror and you know things are not good. I'm not promising anything. We all grow older. But why do you have to get old the wrong way? Why don't we retard it? Why don't we make our skin look younger for a longer time? The other part that happens is that as that blood supply reduces, the amount of fat that we produce on the skin is going to go down. And then we start getting drier skin. We start having itchiness. We start having problems. I mean, you have seen it many times. Older people, for example, are always scratching their ears or their necks, because these areas become very dry, because on top of that, they're exposed to the weather and they're exposed to the temperature. So if it's cold, they're going to suffer a lot more. So they get scratchy. So rather itchy, that's the word I should say. But this itchiness comes from the dryness of the skin. So we lose all that capacity. And you know what happens? That the skin doesn't know what's happening. The skin feels the threat of the low flow, feels the threat of the low fat production, and what it does, it reacts in the wrong way. It produces pigmentation, it produces lumps and thickening of the epidermis. So you see all those marks as people grow older that we call age spots. No one could have thought of a better name. They are a sign of your aging. So those age spots are a problem. You say, what can I do about it? And here let me also take 1 minute of your time to tell you something that I think is very important. People tell me, doctor, should I use... I went to a cosmetologist and they told me to use this cream or that other, etc. I absolutely encourage you to use some sort of a lotion or lubricating cream as you grow older, because that's going to help your skin. Make sure you do it on a clean skin. So make sure you use your cream and use it liberally. If you have scratchy or itchy arms, you do it in your arms, do it in your legs. Get your cream and lotion. Now, something very important to tell you is price is not important. Many of the household names of creams and lotions that we have used for many, many years that are really inexpensive are fantastic. What you need to do is be regular. Use them regularly, use them consistently, and if you can use them in the morning and you can use them before you go to bed, so much the better. Because that's going to keep your skin a lot healthier, and that urge to thicken and produce pigmentation is going to slow down. I just read a fantastic article, it's probably 50 pages long, published where else? In France. Because it could be for commercial interest, nevertheless, the French have always taken very extreme care for the skin. So if you have any questions, follow me, ask me, give me a comment. I'll be very happy to give you the answers. We can talk about what products, what's your budget, what you can do, but you can do a lot of things. So don't hesitate. A simple question is a lot better than don't asking anything at all. So stay with me. We have to finish this conversation. My friends, I have had a lot of fun. I'm Dr. Rodrigo Rodriguez, Medical Director of BioCare Hospital. And I have had a lot of fun and excitement talking about skincare for two reasons. One, because I know it worries us all, even men. Don't let anybody fool you telling you, I don't care how I look. Well, they might be already defeated or disappointed or you name it. But of course they care. We all care on how we look. And one of the main reasons is because the way you look tells a story. I remember when I started medical school, one of my professors told me, when you see a patient for the first time, look at him, look at her in a careful way, and look at her complexion. That's going to tell you the story of that person's lifestyle. If you're good to yourself, it shows. And how many times you look at people and you say, oh, you look fantastic, and you smile. By the way, now that I mentioned smile, remember we said exercise is very important for your face? Yes, it is. So we have to move the muscles of the face every time we have some time, our neck and so forth, to make sure that that is going to increase blood flow and to make sure that those fibroblasts are going to be stimulated. And guess what? A great exercise for your face is a good laughter. And there's no mystery on that. We all know that people that laugh a lot age better than people that do not laugh. And you have the other thing that now we know. If you don't laugh, might be because you're under stress, because you have a mad mood, because you have whatever. That means you're an adrenaline-dominated person. But if you laugh a lot, that means you're relaxed. That means you're a noradrenaline person. So it means that your skin complexion is going to be a lot better. And furthermore, when we laugh, we make a big movement of all the muscles of your face. And don't buy the story that if you laugh a lot, you're going to wrinkle faster. It's the opposite. So go ahead. Tell a good joke, Visit people you love, people that will reward you with smiles and laughter, and you're going to be much better off. And to end this story, I want to tell you that BioCare Hospital and Wellness Center has been working for many, many years, for close to 40 years, on alternative complementary medicine, on lifestyle modification, on anti-oxidative therapies, on good eating, good habits, on detoxification, on getting out of cigarette smoke, alcohol drinking, and so forth. We are biocaring our patients. And hopefully we are educating you in how biocare your body, how to take care of this fantastic living organism that God gave you. And in doing so, I remember that every time we talked to some people, I came to the hospital one day, next day, the following day, and then 3-4 days later I would say, "Oh my God, you look so well." And I didn't mean the blood work, I didn't mean the blood pressure, I meant how that person looked. Appearance. And I said, "You look so good." And now with these cell phones, I always tell people when they come in, take a selfie every day. Get a place and take a selfie every single day. And you're going to see how you look a lot better, how your skin and complexion will be better. Why? Because everything we do at BioCare Hospital is going to be conducive to that good situation. Number one, you're going to be well taken care of, with a lot of tender, loving care. We're going to be looking after your every need. That's why I love people when they choose to take a health getaway. And they say, "You know what, doctor, I have to do this. I have to go to the hospital to enjoy," because it's really enjoyment. It's not the typical hospital. It's more like a spa in many ways, where everything is going to be taken care of. So I don't have to get up in the morning and say what I'm going to eat, what I'm going to do, what is next. No, you're going to be for 10 days, 2 weeks, being followed up, being helped, being fed, being given water and treatments, etc. And even we have a cosmetologist now, because I felt the need to work and train you in all these important things. Because I know you want to feel well, but I know you want to look good. So all those things are very important. And then when learning about all the things that just good lubrication of your skin as we grow older can do, I jumped right on the wagon. It's so simple, it's so easy, it's a do-it-yourself thing. Why am I not going to do it? Why am I not going to learn about it and transfer that knowledge to you? The whole BioCare environment at the hospital is anti-inflammatory. Everything we do at the hospital is anti-inflammatory. From bed rest, the hours you sleep, the care we have, the times of food. We never feed you late at night. We will never feed you late at night. That's very pro-inflammatory. We will never give you refined sugar. We will never give you toxic substances. We're going to make sure that we go to the best provider of every food, of every item, so we can provide with good food, nutritious. I want to make sure you have enough vitamin C, enough B6, enough flavonoids. Because I want that skin of yours looks fantastic. And you know another good reason is because the better your skin looks, the better all your epithelia in your body is. The lining of your intestinal and stomach tract, the lining of your lungs and bronchial tree, the lining of every single organ of your body is going to be just as good as your skin looks. And when you take this selfie every day, you can see for yourself. You don't have to go to the doctor. You don't have to ask a question. You don't have to wonder what your whatever laboratory test was like today. You can see it every day and you can say, yeah, I'm doing well. And this is something that I have told my patients for years, many, many, many years. Even people that come with a cancer, people that come with supposedly deadly disease, when they go home and I look at them, I always say, don't take it from me. You're going to believe what I'm telling you when this happens. When you get home, people are going to tell you what you did because you look younger. You look better in every single way. And that is because everything we have done to provide your body with elements to function well, to improve every single aspect of immune system, of neurological system, of hormonal system, because we work on all those areas, it's going to reflect in the health of your skin. So, believe me when I tell you that everything you do, every single day, for the well-being of your body, for the care of all the functions and all the physiology and everything in your body, is going to be good for your skin. It's going to be good for you. And now you have a very powerful tool to monitor your health, your cell phone. Take a selfie, open it up, look at it, review it carefully, and then start doing the things that I'm telling you to do. And you're going to look at that image, how it's going to change. But better yet, my 2023 condition, my proposal is to make a shift. Drop what we have been doing and start a new path of wellness, a new path of happy life, a new path of sleep and relaxation, but also of physical activity. Because if you do that, you're not only going to have a beautiful skin, but this might be the beginning of a healthy, enjoyable well-being for the rest of your life. I talk to you next time.